What happens when a young lion, used to the comfort of his pride, ventures into the wild all by himself for the very first time? Join Leo on an epic solo backpacking adventure as he discovers hidden paths, faces unexpected challenges, and learns what it truly means to be independent. Will he make it through the wilderness alone? Let's find out. In the heart of the savannah, under the vast African sky, lived a young lion named Leo. He was full of energy, curiosity, and a growing desire for adventure. While he loved his family dearly, his strong father, his wise mother, and his playful siblings, a new feeling was stirring in his heart. It was the call of the wild, a whisper on the wind that spoke of distant mountains, winding rivers, and forests yet to be explored. He watched the older lions go on long patrols, their manes flowing in the breeze, and dreamed of the day he would have his own stories to tell. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, Leo gathered his courage. "Mom, Dad," he began, his voice a little shaky, "I want to go on a journey. A solo backpacking trip. By myself." His parents exchanged a worried glance. The wilderness was vast and held many unknowns. His mother nuzzled him gently. "Leo, my dear," she said softly, "are you sure you're ready? It's a big world out there." His father, the king of the pride, looked at him with serious eyes. "This isn't a game, son. It requires strength, wisdom, and respect for nature." Leo looked them in the eye, his own gaze steady. "I know, but how will I ever learn if I don't try? I want to prove to myself, and to all of you, that I can be independent." Seeing the determination burning in his son's eyes, his father's expression softened into a proud smile. "All right," he rumbled. "It is time." His family, though still anxious, rallied around him. They helped him pack a small, sturdy backpack with essentials, a water gourd, some dried meat, and a warm blanket woven by his grandmother. With their blessings and a few last-minute tips, Leo stood at the edge of their territory, his heart a mix of excitement and nerves. The grand adventure was about to begin. What challenges would he face out there, all alone? With a deep breath and a final wave to his family, Leo took his first steps into the unknown. The familiar scent of home faded behind him, replaced by the earthy smell of unexplored territory. The world suddenly seemed so much bigger, so much quieter. His first challenge came sooner than he expected: packing. He'd stuffed his bag so full that it was lopsided and uncomfortable. After a few clumsy miles, he had to stop, unpack everything, and learn to distribute the weight evenly. It was a small lesson, but an important one. Next, he had to choose a path. One trail led into a dense, dark forest, while another snaked up a rocky hill. Remembering his father's advice to always seek higher ground for a better view, he chose the hill. As the afternoon wore on, Leo faced another small hurdle. A wide, babbling brook blocked his path. It wasn't deep, but the rocks were slippery. He hesitated, then saw a fallen log a little further upstream. Carefully, he tested its strength with his paw, and then, with his heart pounding, he balanced his way across. He felt a surge of pride. He had solved a problem all by himself. As dusk settled, casting long shadows across the land, Leo found a sheltered spot beneath an ancient baobab tree. He unrolled his blanket, took a sip of water, and looked up at the sea of stars. The wilderness was vast, and he was just a small lion in it. But for the first time, he felt a spark of true confidence. His first solo camp was set, and the real journey had just begun. The next morning, Leo awoke to a sky that had turned from a brilliant blue to a worrying shade of gray. The wind began to howl, and before he knew it, a sudden downpour had started. The gentle brook he had crossed yesterday was now a raging, muddy river. He was trapped. Frustration gnawed at him. He paced back and forth, soaked and shivering, feeling a pang of homesickness. This was much harder than he had imagined. He thought about turning back, about the warmth and safety of his family. But then he remembered his goal. He remembered the proud look on his father's face. He couldn't give up. Taking a moment to calm his racing heart, Leo began to observe his surroundings. He wasn't the strongest, not yet, but his father had always told him to use his mind. He noticed that the river was narrower and shallower further upstream, near a cluster of large boulders. An idea sparked. It was risky, but it might work. He found a sturdy, long vine and, with great effort, managed to secure it around one of the largest boulders on his side. Then, gathering all his strength, he leaped across the churning water, landing with a splash on another large rock in the middle of the river. From there, it was another calculated jump to the other side. He was exhausted, muddy, but he was across. He had faced the storm and the river, and he had won. This was more than just crossing a river. It was a lesson in perseverance. He learned that when faced with a big problem, sometimes you just have to take a deep breath and find a new way forward. After the intensity of the storm, the sun finally broke through the clouds, and the world seemed fresh and new. Feeling re-energized, Leo continued his journey, and his path led him to a breathtaking discovery. He emerged from a thicket of trees to find himself on a high cliff overlooking a hidden valley. Waterfalls cascaded down mossy green walls into a crystal-clear lake below, and flowers of every color imaginable dotted the landscape. He had never seen anything so beautiful. As he sat there, just taking it all in, he noticed a family of curious meerkats popping their heads out of their burrows. They chattered at him from a safe distance, and Leo simply watched them, a gentle smile on his face. It was a brief, friendly moment that made him feel a little less alone. Later that day, while foraging, he stumbled upon a patch of sweet, juicy marula fruits, a favorite treat he thought only grew near his home. Finding this hidden source of food felt like a special reward from the wilderness itself. As he sat munching on the fruit, watching the sunset from his newfound paradise, a deep sense of peace washed over him. He reflected on his journey so far, the struggle with his pack, the scary river crossing, and now, this moment of pure serenity. He was learning to rely on himself, to solve his own problems, and to find beauty in unexpected places. This independence wasn't just about being alone. It was about discovering the strength he had inside him all along. He was realizing that the lessons of the wild were the most valuable of all. With a heart full of new experiences and a newfound confidence in his step, Leo knew it was time to head home. The final stretch of his journey felt different. He navigated the trails not with hesitation, but with purpose. He read the signs of the land, the direction of the wind, the tracks of other animals with an understanding he didn't have before. He was no longer just a young lion wandering. He was a seasoned traveler. The familiar scent of his pride's territory eventually reached him, and his pace quickened. In the distance, he saw them. His family. The reunion was joyous. His siblings rushed to greet him, tumbling over him with happy roars. His mother nuzzled him, her eyes filled with relief and love. But it was his father's reaction that meant the most. The great lion walked slowly around his son, observing him. He saw not just a dirty and tired cub, but a young lion who stood taller, whose eyes held a new depth of wisdom and maturity. He placed a heavy paw on Leo's shoulder. "Welcome home, my son," he rumbled, his voice thick with pride. "You left as a cub, and you have returned as a true lion." Leo had completed his journey. He had faced his fears, overcome challenges, and discovered his own strength. He learned that true independence isn't about leaving everything behind, but about growing strong enough to stand on your own two paws, knowing that home will always be there when you return. Thanks for joining Leo on his amazing adventure. If you were inspired by his journey, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more uplifting stories. See you next time.